Hi, I'm Wendy from Shiny Happy World, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make the sunblock that's part of the Greedy Seagulls applique quilt pattern. Okay, so I decided the sun to be pretty flexible. I wanted you to be able to put it in the middle of the block or pop it up into one of the corners. So I made all of the rays pretty long so that if you put it into a corner, the rays in the longest ray would be enough to reach all the way to the corner of the block. So what I've got here is my quilted block on the bottom, and then I've got my frame cut out of just a cereal box. I've got a 10-inch square cut out of that, so I know where the edges of a 10-inch block are going to be. And then I placed my rays around it. So there are 8 rays in the pattern, and that's enough for you to have one ray pointing toward each corner and then another ray in between those. And you could absolutely just fuse all of that with your fabric and then lay it out and decide whether you want it centered or up in a corner or whatever you want to do. But I am running very low on the fabric in the color that I want to use for the sun. And there was going to be an awful lot of fabric waste if I did it that way. So I wanted to show you a more frugal method that you could use, especially if you already have a pretty clear idea of what you want to do and you don't need to leave yourself a lot of flexibility for experimentation. So what I did is I laid all of my rays out. I popped the sun into the corner, roughly where I wanted it to go, and then I laid all of my rays out around the edges, roughly where I wanted them to be. So again, this isn't exact by any means, but I like the way that looks. And then I went around and just with a pencil, I just cut off. This one's going to be full length, but I just drew a line here where I can cut that ray off all the way around for each of these rays. And I also numbered them. So I started with number 1, the one that I wanted to make sure reached all the way into that corner. And then I just went clockwise around and numbered all of them so that now I can take these and I can cut off some of the fusible, and that is a large enough scrap that I can use it for a letter or some other small piece, but I often trace my letters by hand. And I can cut off all of the excess that I don't need to use for this particular layout. And I've given myself a very large margin, so I'm going to still have excess and enough room to play with all of these, but I won't have quite as much fabric waste. And all of these scraps I'll be able to put to use with no problem. So some of these I'm not using more than I'm using, so I'm very happy with this decision. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to fuse all the pieces, and then I'll come back and show you how I assemble it, and then we'll take it from there. All right, I've got all my pieces cut out, and now it's time to put them all together. So I'm going to start by putting the big circle of the sun where I want it. And for my quilt, I'm going to put this sunshine block up in the top corner. So I want it to be, this block is going to be in the top left corner, and I want the sun to be in the top left corner of the block. So it kind of suggests that the sun's rays are coming down onto the rest of the quilt. So I will adjust the position of that once I get this ray number 1 into place. And I know that I need that to completely cover that corner. I want this ray to kind of disappear into the corner when I crop the blocks. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to pull this sun just a little bit closer so it overlaps the top of that ray. And now I'm going to just kind of drop these in place. So I've got them numbered. Number 2, number 3, I know I want to go into that corner. Number 4 is going to go in the middle-ish. Number 5 is going to go in that corner. Number 6 is going to go up here. Number 7 is going to go in this corner. And number 8 is going to go over here. So I'm going to actually position the corner pieces first and then the middle ones in between those. So I am peeling this off here, and I'm going to just tuck that underneath the sun, and I don't want it to go exactly in the corner. I don't want it to look too symmetrical, but I do want it to disappear into that corner. So that's going to work. Now I'll do piece number 5 up here. That's going to tuck into and go up into that corner. And that's making a really straight line there, and I actually want to not do that. I want it to look just a little more irregular than that. And then this one goes into this corner. And again, so these I want to be just a little bit off kilter. So that needs to tuck under. And there we go. And I'm realizing as I do this, that the way that I showed you to mark all those pieces is not going to be perfect, because look at this. So when I had this 6, well, that I think I had it like this. I cut that sideways and not thinking that this is going to be reversed. So when I put it up here, I have kind of an odd angle going the opposite direction that I really need it to go. This is why it's really good that I always give myself plenty of extra slack when I am eyeballing things. So it doesn't matter that it's a mirror image. This is still gonna work just fine. So that's gonna go tucked up like that. And now we're gonna get this guy. So I think I'm gonna find that on most of these side pieces, these middle pieces, that the angles I cut them at are a little bit backwards, and that is okay. It's still gonna work. So number 4 goes over here. This is why I always leave a little extra. This is why I advise building your blocks bigger and trimming them down later. Just that little bit of extra makes life so much easier when the unexpected happens. All right, I'm gonna pop that one over, and I don't like this kind of straight line that's forming here, so I'm gonna just bend this one down a little bit here. All right, now I'm going to remove my frame and then carry this block over to the ironing board. I would advise you guys to just build it on your ironing board, but that doesn't really work very well for shooting video. I can't get good light on my ironing board itself. So I'm just gonna tuck that under. If I had built this on my ironing board, I would actually fuse all these pieces right in the middle, not onto the edges, but fuse them in the middle and then remove my frame after they were kind of held down there. So just in case I messed anything up here, I want to make sure that I still have good coverage, that I've got all those rays tucked in well enough on the corners. I just want to make sure I didn't shift anything too much in getting that frame off. All right, it's all good. It's all going to fit in the frame, so that's what my finished block is going to look like. That is exactly what I had in mind. So I will take it, I'll fuse it all down, I'll do all of the outline stitching, and then I will bring it back and show you the finished sunshine block. And here you go. Here is the finished block. So I got everything fused down, and I outlined everything just in black thread, just like all of the other blocks in the Greedy Seagulls pattern.